Alright then, hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of my Zero to Hero Pro Evo 2019 Become a Legend series. This is episode 2, so if you've not seen episode 1, go back and make sure you enjoy that one before you come and watch this one. We are currently in pre-season, in my first season at my brand new Japanese club, V-Varen Nagasaki. Fun fact, the V apparently stands for victory. So let's hope we can get a victory today. So the format of these episodes, which you'll become more and more familiar with in time, is going to kind of be... You see, I predict that once the league starts, I won't actually be in the starting lineup, even though I am currently in and out of the starting lineup during pre-season. And given that that's the case, obviously it won't be very fun to constantly watch the AI play and me on the bench. So kind of until we do actually start important games or kind of become a regular starter within the side, we're going to focus more on ensuring that episodes are kind of more of a highlights package. That way we can get more familiar with our team, keep episodes shorter, and at the same time also catch glimpses of ourselves when we do actually get substituted on. But here we go. We obviously drew our first game of this pre-season tournament against Santa Fe. 0-0. I think, if my memory serves me correct, we were the better side and were quite unlucky not to take the lead in the end. But coming up into this game against Palmeiras, absolutely no doubt about it, Palmeiras are the strongest side in our pre-season group. So we do very, very well to get anything out of this game. Now the gaffer started us once again in the defensive midfield position. As we know, it's not exactly our favoured position. We kind of treat it more as a deep line playmaker, orchestrator type role. And unfortunately, there's a lot of defending that and intercepting and, you know, analysing where the opposition are playing the ball and making sure I'm there and ready to sweep up like that, basically anticipate passes from the opposition involved in the role that we are currently playing, which is annoying because we're more of a technical, more of a speedy attacking player. So I am hoping that the gaffer decides to play us down the wing once or twice going into the future, which is really where I think we suit a lot more. But the issue with this system is that basically, because we play with 3 centre-backs and quite a high defensive line, and to be fair, our centre-backs aren't very, very good, it often means that the 2 defensive midfielders, me and the lad next to me, need to basically try and prevent ourselves going forwards too much and basically continue to make sure that we protect the defence. But it was us just before half-time that managed to break the deadlock. If you go back and watch it, I actually started the move from midfield with the pass out from the back. Yeah, I noticed the kind of space, the hole in the middle between the 2 Palmeiras centre-backs, and I was actually making a run from midfield into that area, but Nakahara got there instead. I'm not complaining, and straight into the second half, about 5 minutes in, we actually decided it would be a good idea to give him a corner. Now, we were topping the interceptions charts. You can see that we have 1 or 2 people really covering the front post. I say covering, but judging by that defending, I'm not quite sure what they were covering or what they were defending, to be honest. A very, very cheap goal to concede. Goalkeeper, undoubtedly, I think, will be very disappointed by the fact that, you know, that header somehow beat him. And really, we kind of gave Palmeiras a cheap way back into the game, and we almost did the exact same thing again. So I think one thing you'll probably hear me say throughout my time at V-Varen Nagasaki, the weakest team in the game, is that our defending is a shambles. And I'm obviously not sure if come the next few transfer windows, our manager will maybe sign 1 or 2 new centre-backs. I'm not really sure. I do tend to find that we tend to defend better when I am on the pitch, because I am there to parry in front of the defence. But hey, I'm not the one that picks the side, am I? So, 57 minutes in, Palmeiras, they kind of got that confidence boost after getting the equaliser, and suddenly the momentum was in their favour, and I found myself really doing plenty of defending. But from time to time, I'd try and supplement the midfield, get the ball out wide, and in scenarios like this, make runs forwards and try to, of course, get the ball into the box. In this scenario, I win a corner. Obviously, the gaffer's not really too pleased with me making those runs forwards, but I think, as you'll see, the gaffer probably yeah, will change his mind when he sees that I'm capable of doing things like this. Unfortunately for us, though, even though I get potentially my first ever professional assist, even though it's a pre-season game, it was unfortunately deemed offside by the linesman. But again, it's glimpses of our technical ability that we undoubtedly have. Once again, I decided to roam forwards because I wanted to get the winner, wanted to play balls into the space. I felt like there was space really to exploit behind the Palmeiras high line. And there's another glimpse once again until we finally got substituted off. And of course, we are working on our stamina in training. Obviously, we're kind of a special case with our Become a Legend because, you know, Become a Legend out of the box doesn't really start at 50 overall. So we're a bit weaker than what you usually are out of the box. But when you do play Become a Legend out of the box, a lot of the time you can't complete 90 minutes anyway. So it's not really surprising. But as we saw there, poor defending from us. And then we got an offensive chance of our own. We subbed on the big guy, number 9. I forgot his name now, up front. He had a one-on-one chance with the goalkeeper, fluffed it, and then hit the bar. And then with 9 minutes to go, Palmeiras, unfortunately for us, then hit us on the break. And that's really an area where we were struggling all game because we don't really play with fullbacks. So the AI kind of notices that if it plays with a 4-2-3-1, if it plays with a 4-3-3, that has emphasis on players within the wide areas, yeah, they can do damage. But fortunately, with quite literally the last header of the game, we somehow managed to get the equaliser. 2-2 was the final score in the end. Quite an even game. A decent result really for us considering we were the weaker side. An overall a rating of 6.5 considering we didn't play 90 minutes and that we weren't playing in an ideal role for us, I think was a pretty decent rating. Next up, Atletico Nacional, a team I think from Colombia. We were once again in the starting lineup, which made sense. I do feel like me and Nakahara down the right wing are forming quite a decent partnership. It's all about creating passing triangles and trying to basically set him off really as that wide winger player to join the attack. But unfortunately for us, I just don't know what it was about this game. Our first touch was dreadful, our passing was dreadful, and then the mistake that we really kind of made in midfield did eventually come back to punish us. Ball whipped into the box, we cleared it this time, but the Colombians kept on coming. Lenis whips the ball into the box, header for the big man in the middle, and again another example where the opposition are able to take advantage of the fact that we're playing 3 at the back. And the issue is, there's a mistake I was talking about earlier. I kind of give the ball away, high pressure from the front, put me under pressure, and then, well, we concede a goal. So not my finest hour, to say the least. And the issue with this kind of system is, you know, if you think back to Antonio Conte playing this type of system at Chelsea, the wide players were players who were hard-working, who had defensive attributes like your Marcos Alonso's. In our case, we kind of quite literally play with attacking players in the wide areas, so they just don't supplement the defence that well, which is what essentially ends up putting pressure on me as a defensive midfielder within this type of system, especially when really my strengths are in my technical play and movement off the ball rather than, you know, actually trying to win the ball back and being a kind of Nemanja Matic wall type player in front of the defence. But anyways, we try to move down the wide areas. This is another kind of confusing thing where we kind of have our wide players that aren't out and out wingers. They're kind of right and left midfielders. And then we have shadow strikers that tend to pull wide. And I often find that within this system, there's kind of a bit of confusion over who should be overlapping or who should be playing a 1-2 with who and how we should move up the field. So early signs suggest that me and this manager aren't really seeing eye to eye too much. But you never know, he might end up getting sacked. I do think managers can get sacked and become a legend. It doesn't really tell you about it. I think you just notice that randomly your manager's name changes and the system randomly changes. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But there we go. So short and simple passes, trying to make runs forwards. Nakahara finds number 24, but unfortunately it gets blocked by the defence. Set piece. We try to take it past a player, and even though we end up going down, the referee decides no foul, and we lose the ball again. And that pretty much summed up my game, unfortunately. Palmeiras are a better side, undoubtedly, than this Colombian team. But we did, fortunately, manage to get the equaliser just before half-time through my partner in crime, Kurogi, who also plays in that kind of centre midfield, defensive midfield role. And the fact that he grabbed the goal probably, you know, on top of my poor performance this game, kind of put me down the pecking order a little tiny bit. But yeah, there's another one of our interceptions. And then we win a free kick. So here we pick the ball up, we spot the run of Nakahara down the right hand side, and once again, to summarise my performance this game, the ball goes out of play. And, you know, when you're having a poor game like this, there's not really much you can do. Here we concede again. Once again, poor defending. The back three, you know, gets kind of stretched out wide and there's space for players to run into. Now, you can see that I was the only player that actually tried to track the run from midfield. So maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on myself, but it kind of makes me think that maybe if I was a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, I might have been able to, you know, stop him getting that shot on goal. When you go 2-1 down again, it forces me to have to go a little bit more offensive. But you can see this kind of high-pressing game that Nacional were playing. They were literally giving me no time whatsoever off the ball in their 4-3-3. And they were getting the ball out wide. It's a system where they rely on the front three, on the wingers. They've got those three central midfielders, which is one more player than we have. And they were just able to constantly win the ball back and pressure us in our own half. And to be honest, it was a bit of a shambles performance from me. Yeah. Here we get the ball out wide. Just trying to create something. We know we've got a big guy in the box, and unfortunately my cross gets cleared. Once again, pick the ball up, trying to take on players, but I'm just getting tackled really, and yeah, one of them where nothing was really coming off for us. Pass forwards, trying to start play. Ball goes out wide to Nakahara, bring it back, whip the ball in again. And again, this is all really not really part of our role. But it does, to me, feel like sometimes we need an extra person to join in on the attack until Ramirez says see you later to me and wins the ball back with, to be fair, a fantastic tackle. That creates a shot on goal, and that really should have been 3-1. And there we go. We played around 65 minutes. Gaffer eventually took us off. Not exactly our brightest hour in a Nagasaki shirt. And full time, unfortunately, we lost 2-1. A rating of 5.0 for us. Could be worse, but, you know, an average rating for an average performance. We're yet to get a goal. We're yet to get an assist. And the next episode will be the start of the J1 League. Thanks for watching.